Hi, Matt with etrailer. If you have a 2023 BMW X5 and you're looking for something that's going to be pretty easy to tighten onto your tires and get you through those extreme icy conditions, then the Titan tire chains with the V-bars are going to be a great option for you. And we're also going to have this on tire size 275, 45, R20. Now that's just a tire size we have today. It will fit a variety of other sizes. And we're going to have this on the rear axles, what the manual recommends. The manual also recommends to turn off your drive axle steering. The reason is because if you leave it on, it could damage the interior of your wheel well. And if you're not sure if this is going to fit your vehicle, you can plug in your vehicle's information into our fit guide to find the right one for you. And taking a closer look at these links, we are going to have our standard twist links, but on top of that, we're going to have the V-bar. And that is what's giving you that extra bite to get through that thicker ice. Now, something to think about is if you're going through any patchy areas, that V-bar will be less forgiving if you make contact with pavement, and it could tear up the road. So if you are worried about that, then I'd recommend checking out the P-Wag Square Link tire chains. They'll be able to get you through that deep snow and ice, and it won't tear up the roads either. Now, we are also going to have this on a ladder pattern design. So with that ladder pattern design, that's going to give you more traction when you're stopping and you're starting. And if we look here in the center, we're also going to have these cams. And these cams are great because they're going to get a little bit more of that slack out of your chains, just making these easier to work with. Now there is an option to get this chain without cams, and that's a great option if you don't like cams or you just don't trust the way they work. I personally prefer them because I think they're a lot easier to work with and make sure your chains are nice and tight on your tire. What I still recommend though is using a rubber tensioner, because while those cams do a lot of work for you, if they ever were to loosen up while you drive, then they could make contact with something. Because what happens a lot of times is when you're on the road, your chains shift, and once they shift, they usually loosen up. And the way this works is when you're driving down the road, if something were to loosen up, that's okay. This is going to continually apply tension to your chains. Now, this isn't going to come with your kit, but you can find one of these on our website. Now, what is going to come with your kit is going to be this light-duty bag with 2 sets of chains. And honestly, I recommend just investing in a small tote, because it won't take very long for those chains to really shred right through this bag. To begin the installation process, I recommend grabbing some gloves just to make this a little bit easier and laying out your chains. Now, when we're laying them out, we're checking for 2 things. What we're looking for is to make sure we don't have any damages to our links, making sure those welds are intact, nothing's tangled up, and we want to make sure the orientation is correct. So we want to make sure this hook is facing up with the flat side down, because that's going to be the side that's made contact with the tire. We're also going to be checking these cams, making sure they're in the right position and closest to us. And right now this is in the wrong position. So this is already tightened down. We want to make sure when we place it on our tires, it's already loosened up. And that's what it should look like. Then we're just going to come down to the very end, check this lever is closest to us, and if it is, we're on the right track. And now we're going to start putting them on. And the way I like to do this is to grab it from the center and drape it over. With it draped over, we can adjust this fit. So we want to make sure it's not hanging too low, it's going to be making contact with your rim. I also like to put my hand on the back side of it just to make sure it's even on both ends. When I've established that, I'm just going to repeat that all the way throughout. And then I'm going to adjust the very end so I can access my connection points a little bit easier on either side. So I like to start on the back side because it's a little bit harder to reach. You're just going to be grabbing this metal hook and connecting it to the other side on those links. This might take a few attempts because it is a little bit tighter underneath here, and we don't know how tight we want it to begin with. Just because if we tighten it too much back here, it's not going to give us an even fit on the front side. And if it's too loose, it could come loose and make contact with something. Making the connection on the front is going to be a little bit different. Instead of just hooking it on, we're going to be sticking this lever through one of those links applying pressure to it and pushing down until it can grab on to that link just like this. And come looking at it now, it is a little bit loose still, so what I'm going to do is tighten up our cams. So we're going to start this one at the bottom, using that flat end to go into that hole, and then just twisting it. And you're just going to repeat this process all the way through on all 4 cams, or until you find a situation where you can't get any tighter than you can. When that last one's tightened up, we'll just come back through, pulling on it, make sure it feels good. Now right now I do like this fit, but I still recommend using a rubber tensioner, just in case, for the reasons I talked about earlier. And when you're putting this on, you want to make sure you do this in a star pattern. And the reason why I recommend that is just so it has even distribution of tension all the way through your chains. And when you put these hooks on, you just want to make sure the hooks are facing away from your tire so they don't puncture anything. And once that looks good, you can repeat that process on the other side, after which, pulling forward and back, you can then check to make sure if anything shifted, and if nothing has shifted, then you can take it out for a ride. But that'll do it for our look at the installation and some of the features of the Titan Chain tire chains with the V-bars on our 2023 BMW X5. I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.